Today I want to discuss how Superman and Supergirl have never stood together on the big screen, and I think it's outrageous. In 1984's Supergirl, a movie I hold very close to my heart, and I know the problems with that movie, but it's something that means a lot to me. Christopher Reeve was supposed to appear in that movie with Helen Slater, but in the last minute, Chris didn't feel right about being in the movie. I understand why, because the movie's script is problematic, don't get me wrong. I still think it's a joyful, beautiful rendition of Supergirl. It's a romantic type of Supergirl. But Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is going to be a very up and atom Supergirl. You know, a Supergirl who's dragged into somebody else's problems, somebody else's battle. And this is going to be a world-weary, secluded Supergirl. And I like and love that idea. But I absolutely think it's wrong that Supergirl and Superman have never stood together. Now, the other day, we spoke about Sasha Calais' comments about being replaced by Millie Alcock as Supergirl. She also said that she felt it wasn't fair because she's queer and she's a Latino and she can't play Supergirl. Well, it's not about you being queer or Latino. That doesn't give you the divine right to play this character. The most talented people should be playing these iconic DC characters, and Millie Alcock is leaps and bounds more talented than you, Sasha. I never believed that Sasha could lead a Supergirl movie. I absolutely believe Millie Alcock can. And when James Gunn does something right, as I've said a billion times before, I'm going to give him the credit he deserves. And when he does decisions, makes decisions I don't like, I'm going to call him out on it. The more I hear about lanterns, the more I'm disturbed, the more I'm concerned. They've introduced another character who's going to be a conspiracy theorist. So we can all see that this series is going to be a disaster and it's going to be very current day. But let's stick to the subject at hand about Supergirl and Superman never standing together on film. You know, Henry Cavill and Sasha Calais should have stood together on film. They didn't. But will Supergirl and Superman stand together in the DCU? Not necessarily. And this is going to be something that I'm going to talk about today and something I'm concerned about. You know my suspicions that Superman dies by the end of James Gunn's Superman movie. And I do think Millie will appear or cameo in the Superman movie, but not necessarily on screen with David Corenswet's Superman. She could be, and most probably will be, in a post-credit scene that leads into Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I would think it would be very wrong. You know, it's a bit like The Force Awakens and not seeing Han, Leia, and Luke on screen together. We know what a big mistake that was, and even J.J. Abrams now admits that's a huge mistake. And they could be making the same mistake with Superman and Supergirl in the DCU if they're planning on killing off Superman by the end of this movie. That's my suspicion. So either Supergirl is going to take the Superman mantle over, like Sasha Calais' Superman was supposed to do in the DCEU. Because there's many things that Hamada was planning that they're still going to go with in the DCU. Mark my words on that as well. So we will see about that. But I think it's very important for Superman and Supergirl to be, loving cousins, fighting villains together. There's nothing more special than that. And we've not seen it in live action in a Superman or, a Supergirl movie or anything. We've never seen them stand together in a film. And I think that's wrong on so many levels, because isn't that true diversity, to see a man and a woman who are cousins, who are superpowered, who are iconic superheroes standing together, united? But we know the entertainment industry isn't in the business of entertaining and doing good things anymore. We don't get good things in entertainment anymore. And every time you think something good's going to happen, something even worse actually happens. So I don't think wanting Supergirl and Superman to stand together in a movie is a lot to ask, is it now? And although I hope that James Gunn's going to do this, I can't guarantee it for you or for myself, and that's a big shame. But we'll see. We don't know. Maybe they do stand together for the first time on a film in the Superman film. And I hope this is the case. But as I say, there's no guarantees. As I've already said, the whole idea in the DCEU was for Sasha Calais, Kara Zor-El, Supergirl, to replace Superman. How toxic was that for Supergirl to replace Superman? For Leslie Grace's Batgirl to replace Batman? This is not what we should be doing. This is not what we should be rewarding. Now, a lot of people said, oh my God, Sasha Calais was amazing in the Flash movie. I thought she did okay, but I wasn't convinced of her as an actor being able to lead a Supergirl movie. There would have been a dozen reasons why James Gunn wanted to replace her in the DCU. And clearly he wanted a more comic accurate Supergirl, and Millie is perfect for this rendition of this graphic novel. You look at her, she looks tough, she's no nonsense. This is the kind of Supergirl that you get in Tom King's graphic novel. And I think you have to be faithful to that graphic novel, and you shouldn't be stuck with an actor just because they're queer or just because they're Latino. That's not how these things should work or swing. So when she was replaced, I wasn't actually upset about this. I was angry that she was replacing Henry Cavill in the DCEU, that she was going to be the DCEU's only representative of the House of L, instead of them standing together, fighting crime together. I think, and we know that when Agby and DeLuca took over, the plan was to have Henry, they were going to get him, when they decided to bring him back to the DCEU, when we saw him in that wonderful, iconic post-credit scene in Black Adam, that they were going to shoot some stuff. I think they did shoot some stuff with Henry and Sasha together. How amazing would have that been? And, we were robbed. But we keep on getting robbed in terms of being DC fans, don't we? We were going to get a great Batfleck movie. There's people running a campaign to make the Batfleck movie. I'm not sure if that's even something that Ben still wants to do. But Ben had a great vision for Batman. Ben is a huge Batman fan, and we saw how great his Batman was in the Snyderverse of the DCU. We were robbed again. We were going to get a great Suicide Squad movie written and directed by David Ayer. They forced the poor man to reshoot some rewritten scenes, and it became more like Deadpool than a Suicide Squad movie. We keep on getting robbed. We were nearly robbed of Zack Snyder's Justice League, and if we didn't fight along with Zack, if we didn't stand by Zack's side, we would never have seen that movie. So we keep on getting robbed. We deserve an iconic Green Lantern movie, an epic one. It's a universe within a universe. It's Star Wars in the DC universe, as I keep on repeating. And we keep on getting robbed as fans. I don't want lanterns, and I think it's going to be a damn disaster, especially with Lindelof being involved after seeing what he did with Watchmen, which was another absolute disaster. So at the very least, I think we do deserve to see Superman and Supergirl standing together. And I hope, even if it's not in the Superman movie, that eventually we get that. But we don't know what Superman's ending's going to be. Because I don't think, I told you before, James Gunn speaks a good game about Superman. I'm not quite sure he's actually a Superman fan. This is a fan of the grade E, F, Z characters, if you like. So, he could be getting, he could be killing off Superman by the end of this Superman movie. Now, this would be crazy. This would be controversial. This would be much more controversial than Superman breaking Zod's neck in Man of Steel. This would be much more controversial than Superman being killed by Doomsday at the end of BVS, because we all knew Superman would come back. because they were doing the whole death and return of Superman storyline in their own way.